You have retarded timing. You're an autistic faggot. You suck dicks daily. Your opinion is not worth anything. Sebastian Howard thanks to $2. Wyatt Stagg's Gran Torino video. Okay. That's my ultimate doomer rant for you. Nothing ever happens. Sebastian Howard thanks to $2. Wyatt Stagg's Gran Torino video. Okay. Don't they remember the last time that happened? They don't care, dude. Chat does not care. It's I can't even say it's idiocy. Sometimes it is like, it is malice. I swear it is, because they know better and they don't care anyway. Oh, this one had to be taken down. Brutal. Okay, so it's probably spicy. Hey, time now, buddy. Fucking 15
if your
seconds.
Enemies had the power to shape your desires and your fears, to mold your hopes and dreams.
Is my audio fucked or is the video fucked? I can't tell. That sounds like my headphones are half unplugged.
To define your very understanding of good and evil.
Okay.
Surely they would use that power.
I think it was my headphones.
Over the past century, the hostile faction in control of our cultural institutions has used the art of illusion to remake our moral order and reshape our thoughts and behaviors to conform to their will. At the center of this transformation is the subversion of the very concept of heroism itself, orchestrated through the creation of new heroic archetypes, false role models designed to corrupt us. And
I mean, I know this, you know, might be nitpicking. I hate how he's talking right now. Like, it almost sounds like he's trying to do ASMR or something. Like, he's breathing. Like, he's talking like this. He's breathing out as he's speaking into the microphone. Just talk normal.
Lead us astray. Walt Kowalski, the protagonist of the critically acclaimed 2008 drama Gran Torino, is one such false role model.
He actually is talking like that.
Following his wife's death, Walt finds himself living alone in the Detroit suburb of Highland Park, a formerly white community turned multicultural ghetto.
Okay, I'll turn it. Does he always talk like this in vids? I know I've seen one of his vids before, but maybe I just forgot. Because I've watched his vid on 28 Days Later, but I just don't remember him talking like this for some reason.
Now plagued by gang wars and inter-ethnic conflict, alienated from his own ungrateful children, and concealing terminal lung cancer from the people around him, Walt tries to live out his final years in peace. Hollywood's archetypal, cranky old white man, Walt is at first presented as inflexible, intolerant, and bigoted. When Walt catches the young son of his Asian neighbors, Tao Vanglor, attempting to steal his prized Ford Torino in a gang initiation, his prejudices seem to be vindicated. However, he is eventually swayed by their efforts to make restitution, and he gradually comes to befriend the immigrant Vanglor family. Learning to overcome his prejudices, Walt grows to appreciate their foreign ways, and sees that they compare favorably to his own kin.
Yeah,
It even forms...
Interesting. Like, you don't even have to explain a straight-up synopsis of the events of the film by themselves said out loud. Explain the propaganda at work without you even having to analyze anything. You know what I mean? The problem is that it is a you know, a really well directed movie. Like, I remember really liking it when it came out, but it is obvious what they're going for. Like, if instead of an Asian family, if it was a black family, immediately everything would be different. Like the entire frame of the situation would, and that's why they did it that way, because it wouldn't work. It functionally would not work if it was a ghetto black family doing all this.
A bond with Tao, becoming his mentor and father figure. When Tao is attacked and his sister Sue sexually assaulted by a street gang, Walt decides to seek justice on their behalf. Confessing to the young man his guilt over killing a surrendering enemy soldier during the Korean War, Walt gifts Tao his Silver Star medal, locks him in his basement to keep him from risking his own life for vengeance, and goes to confront the gang in his stead. Berating the gang members for their crimes as a crowd of onlookers gathers around, Walt reaches into his jacket as if to draw a gun, and they open fire, killing him on the spot. In his hand, they find a cigarette lighter. Walt, unarmed, sacrificed himself for the Vanglore family. The gang members will go to prison for killing an unarmed man. After Walt's funeral, his last will and testament is
See,
read.
the problem, you can already see, because we know how the world works now. If that was a ghetto black family, then they would get, what, maybe 4 years in prison, then let out for good behavior, and then go kill more unarmed, innocent people. So, you know, it's shit like this. When you know how the things work in real life, movies like this just fall apart.
He leaves his most treasured possession, his Ford Gran Torino, to Tao. His own family, he leaves nothing. The film ends as Tao drives the titular Ford Torino down Detroit's Jefferson Avenue. It does not take much reflection to grasp the true subtext of the story. Walt is a symbol of white America. The Vanglores are the non-white immigrants who are displacing American whites. And Walt's Ford Gran Torino is the material and spiritual legacy of Western civilization. The film is a moral fable, and Walt Kowalski is intended as a model of virtue for the white audience, a heroic exemplar for them to imitate. The message of Gran Torino, therefore, is simple. White people have a moral duty to sacrifice themselves for the non-white immigrants who are replacing them, and to gift the civilizational birthright owed to their own children to those immigrants instead.
Yeah, and that is exactly the ideology of leftists, 1-to-1. Is that a coincidence? Am I supposed to believe? And obviously, you know, there's many films that are like this, but and again, you think of millennial liberals. How do they act? They act like superheroes are real. All these stupid cartoons and all this other shit is their reality, because I mean that's all they have, because life is not nearly as interesting for most people as, I guess, back in the boomer days. So for a lot of people, you can include me in this too. I won't say I led the most exciting life out in the world, especially my 20s, where I've basically been a shut-in. Fiction becomes your reality because you don't have real experiences. So yes, millennials think their garbage Marvel movie slop reflects real life, or things like this. Whatever, it can be any movie. It doesn't have to be a Marvel movie. But that's just the most soy thing that you think of every time, right? So So yes, liberals literally get their morality from fiction, not from real life, which there's nothing wrong with stories teaching moral lessons. Obviously, that's something that's existed since civilization, actually even before civilization, arguably. You know, I'm sure the nomadic tribes had their cave drawings or whatever the fuck that told heroic tales or something. The thing is that if you have there's no real life experience to back up these lies, the propaganda, the bullshit. You know, those of us who have grown up around, you know, dangerous individuals, we'll put it at that, know better. But these champagne socialist types do not know. All they have is the fiction. And what is the Hollywood fiction? The Hollywood fiction is immigrants are just like us. You know, they're just trying to get by. They have the same moral values as us, when in real life that is demonstrably untrue. Like, it just nothing backs it. Not the data that they supposedly care about because they're the party of science. They don't care about that because crime statistics, those are racist. You can't use crime statistics. You can't use the anecdotes of people who have actually lived around these people. No, none of that's real. You're fucking fiction. You're fucking fantasy world. You goddamn fuck you. Anyway, I'm not gonna get into this. Whatever. We've talked about this 100 times. They live in a fantasy land and they want to impose this fantasy on you. That's their socialism dreams. You know, it's not based on anything. It's not like, how do you not understand human nature fundamentally at all? Anyway, whatever. Yeah, see, the shit like this really brings out the political rants in me because it's infuriating.
It is an incitement to white racial suicide, masquerading as a story of heroism and redemption. But Gran Torino is no isolated example. The same archetypal narratives have played out for decades on screens across the world, reshaping the minds of millions of people. Through the manipulation of images and the gradual, deliberate fostering of a number of anti-white tropes and memes, Hollywood has meticulously crafted an anti-white narrative that has,
maybe try not to spew anti-Christian bile. There is neither Jew nor Greek. There is neither bond nor free. There is neither male nor female. For ye are all one in Christ Jesus. See, this is it's shit like that that makes Christians look so bad. Where it's just like, yeah, spread your cheeks for Israel to fuck you up the ass. Go die in Ukraine, please, or something. I don't know. Go do something of value if you're going to spew your your gay ass fake morals. There's nothing moral about letting people fuck you up the ass. Actually, that's supposed to be send you to hell. I thought, but that's what that's. I thought you were supposed to go to hell for that, but I guess not.
Over the past century, hijacked almost the totality of Western civilization, as well as the hearts and minds of most of its members. Inside this narrative, ethnic Europeans are framed as the villains of history, only able to play the hero through redemptive self-annihilation. Just a few notable examples should suffice. In Roland Joffe's 1986 historical epic, The Mission, 2 Spanish Catholic priests turn against their own people to fight on behalf of a foreign tribe, dying as martyrs for their cause. In the 2006 science fiction film, Children of Men.
You know, it's ironic though. Liberals actually started hating this shit for a while. The whole like white savior trope. You know, that was supposed to be racist. It's funny, I don't hear that anymore though, because maybe at some point, you know, the mysterious people in charge, whoever they are, kind of pass along the message. No, actually, the white people dying, that's good. The white people must die because that's the plan, of course. But I used to hear people complain about the white savior trope, not so much anymore.
The white protagonist sacrifices his life to protect the unborn child of an African immigrant. In the 2017 superhero film, Logan, the titular hero dies a self-sacrificial death defending border crossers. In the 2019...
Yeah, I mean, if you frame it that way, yeah, it's not that kind of border crossing, but yes, basically, yeah, that is exactly what happened. Yeah.
Hit Knives Out.
Which is funny, too, because X-23 is white in the comics, yet she was Mexican in the movie. Weird, don't notice it.
A wealthy white author kills himself and disinherits his own children from his will, instead giving his family fortune to a Hispanic immigrant. These recurring themes and tropes are not the product of blind coincidence.
Yeah, hold on.
Disinherits his own children from his will, instead giving his family fortune to a Hispanic immigrant. These
Spielberg presented top ADL award at Celebrity Studded Dinner. Don't notice that, though. Don't notice it.
Recurring themes and tropes are not the product of blind coincidence, but the manifestation of the deliberate will of the media controllers and their rationally constructed, systematic campaign to weaken white racial bonds and undermine Western culture. Utilizing their understanding of the imitative nature of the human animal, they advertise ideas and behaviors using the same methods they employ.
Yeah, I'm wondering, how did this video get taken down? There's no hate speech in here. How did this get taken down, though? Why did it get taken down? The thing is, that's the secret with YouTube, is that with enough reports, any video can get taken down. That's why it's annoying. I mean, I understand the point. You know, I'm not even necessarily disagreeing. But when people say to me, I can't believe you left this in the video, which is ironic because that wasn't even the reason the video got taken down. No one guessed it right. Nobody. I'm talking about the Battlefield video, of course. People were, I remember reading comments like, I can't believe you left this in. It's like, what? That wasn't even why the video got taken down. That's the fucked up part. That's the fucked up part. Okay? It can be taken down for anything. All that matters is if a bunch of fucking pieces of shit mass support your video because they got nothing better to do, then the bot determines all, because the AI is king, clearly. You know, we complain about the modern idea of AI, the LLMs, but way before that, you know, these AI algorithms have been around on YouTube determining, you know, what breaks the rules long before Chat GPT or any of this other shit. It's been a problem on YouTube for over a decade.
to advertise products, subliminally associating their subversive ideology and the behaviors they seek to condition into the captive audience with moral righteousness, with romantic success and popular adoration, with attractiveness and desirability. Intentionally destructive lies are placed in the mouth of the handsome, heroic protagonist, while hard yet noble truths are espoused by crazed villains.
Israel
The
took
neurotic,
down like
self-loathing
700
loser
videos
gets the dough
documenting the
and
Gaza
wins the day.
sneed aside.
Passivity is enough to defeat, even
Yeah.
redeem, evil. Strength is punished, weakness is rewarded.
Well, I don't know if that was necessarily weakness. That was just a retarded person being taken advantage of. At least anyone with any sense agrees that Jenny is like, you know, the worst woman who's ever lived. AKA the average woman. No. Dude, Jenny, oh my god, dude. Like, I hate. Luckily, I've always been a chud, always. So I hated Jenny the first time I watched the movie when I was like, I don't know, 11 or 12. But like, with the framework of like modern, you know, black pill shit, it's so much worse even than I remembered, you know, when I rewatched the movie. Like, god damn. Yeah, that movie is such insane propaganda. Yeah, it's considered like, you know, one of the most beloved American films of all time, which shows what's wrong with the world, really. Yep.
Through repeated exposure, these ideas, deliberately calculated to undermine white racial interests, are absorbed and internalized by the white audience, reshaping their thoughts and behaviors in accord with the dominating will of the media masters.
Okay, I don't know if that clip has to do with what you're talking about. That clip is just like an attention whore soy boy, you know? Like that's all that is. Because I kind of already got some of my rants out, which was my little bits of energy since I've been tired this stream. But this is the millennial version of attention seeking is all this is. I don't think it's really that deep. It's just like when your testosterone is lower than your grandma's, this is the only way you can think of to like relate to other human beings is embarrassing yourself online because, you know, being an emotional silly billy is good actually. It's like, this is disgusting. You know, this is like, like, how do you get the wrong lesson? Like, it's not even necessarily wrong that there's nothing wrong with, you know, men crying. It's just men are only supposed to cry when it's something incredibly serious and like dramatic, like, you know, your mother dies or something, right? Instead, you cry because it's a fucking Star Wars trailer. Like this, it shouldn't have to be explained. Yes, it's okay for men to show emotions in the most impactful moments in your life. But those are the only times. You're never supposed to cry any other times than the most dramatic, like tragic points. That's all the point was. It's not that complicated.
Media masters. Providing the passive viewing audience with false models for imitation. These culture distorters, fully conscious of their destructive intent, have redefined our conception of what it means to be a hero, and our very understanding of the words good and evil. Traitors are heralded as selfless and noble, their treason against their own people framed as a higher loyalty to humanity. Self-sacrifice for the outsider is presented as the ultimate form of heroism, the path to redemption and even salvation. As a result of this century-long psychological warfare campaign, the white man now lives inside a story authored by those who hate him and seek his destruction, viewing himself and his world through the distorted lens that they have so meticulously crafted.
No, but that's extreme schizophrenia, what you just said. Who could ever hate white people except all white people hate themselves, at least on the left. So, you know, this is the double think shit that gets me. Where it's like, it's an extreme conspiracy theory to acknowledge that modern media hates white people. But if you ask any liberal white person, they hate white people. So where did they get that idea? Well, it's not like, did their parents tell them, oh, hate whites? No. Okay, so where'd it come from then? I know this takes a genius level intellect, clearly, to have any level of introspection. But maybe that idea was implanted in your head somewhere. You know, media, college campuses, whatever, right? It doesn't even matter. But it was planted in your idea because that's not a natural thought that people have, okay? That's not a normal thing. But no, when you're that fucking brainwashed and demoralized, there's no hope. There's no amount of logic that'll get through these fucking cards. So, you know. It doesn't even matter. None of this fucking matters. Again, that's always been my logic for this shit. You know, I hope a bunch of fucking giant fucking fags complain about my Fallout Season 2 reviews. I hope it happens. Because I know I was always right. It was always dog shit. And everything I said is correct. Everything. Every word that came out of my mouth was right. Okay. Anyway, I don't know. Whatever. We gotta. I just find it funny. If it was anyone else, I mean, literally anyone else who talked about, you know, all the blatant, like, race mixing shit on TV, people would be like, you know what, I do notice that. But because it was the synthetic man, you know, Hitler liked drinking water, guys. Don't drink water then. Don't breathe. Please, God. All my enemies. I love breathing and drinking water and eating food. I love it. Okay? Everything I do is wrong. So please kill yourselves. Is what I'm saying. In Minecraft.
We judge ourselves through their hateful eyes, according to the moral code they have imposed upon us, inside which we are good only when we serve their cause, and bad when we serve our own. We are conditioned to feel guilty every time we take a stand for ourselves, and virtuous only in self.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with this is only boomers, the problem is, could be its own rant, is that only boomers actually read the news, but through online cultural osmosis, even these fucking rags can have modern influence because it's like trickle down propagandanomics, you know, where it's like, even though only old fucks read these newspapers, they still manage to spread the ideas around through like Twitter and all these other places, right? All it takes is one influential figure to take an idea stolen from an irrelevant rag for it to be indirectly read by millions, right? So, yeah, maybe the midway argument is no one reads newspapers, but I'd say the high IQ interpretation is people take those ideas anyway and spread them to the young people, right? It doesn't matter if people click on the site if the same exact words are parroted by people who do talk to young people, which is exactly what happens.
Debasement and self-destruction. Through this, our values are completely inverted. We are manipulated into feeling shame when we should feel pride, and pride when we should feel shame. We are trained to treat the outsider with complete trust and confidence, while treating our own with suspicion and contempt. We are conditioned to see victory as defeat, and defeat as victory, to see all that will make us strong as morally evil, and all that will render us weak as morally good. This unnatural moral order was built to harm us. Its creators need our people in a state of weakness and passivity, so that we cannot oppose their designs. They want nothing more than for us to willingly lay down our lives without fighting, because they see us as the enemy. For they understand well Sun Tzu's famous dictum that, quote, supreme excellence consists in breaking the enemy's resistance without fighting. This is why Walt Kowalski...
Yeah, the worst part about this is, I mean, look at these people. Look at the ethnicities of the people here. And a lot of women, of course, as well. These are the fucking... They're people who are begging for their own destruction. I believe I said this years ago. But that's why I think, like, kind of unintentionally, the ending of Persona 3 is really fucking good. Because the whole idea is that people were wishing for their own destruction, which could be interpreted in a lot of different ways. You could say that's just suicidal people or whatever. You could say it's the accelerationist doomers. But just the idea that the villain that was going to wipe out all life was created because humans wished for everyone to die is actually pretty clever, because that's exactly what's fucking happening. Like this is what this is. White people want death. So they asked for death, and then death came, right? It's something that, you know, if you're like a naive kid, you probably wouldn't get it. Like, who would ask to die? It's like, well, you see, once you're black pilled, you're like, oh yeah, actually, a lot of fucking people are asking for death, and not just suicidal people. There's a fuck ton of people asking for death indirectly. They don't even realize it. This is just another way of asking for your own death, your extinction.
In breaking the enemy's resistance without fighting. This is why Walt Kowalski sacrificed himself for an immigrant family. Not because it was the right thing to do, but because it is what the people who control Hollywood want us to do. And they know that many of us, deceived by the power of their propaganda, will follow Walt's example.
Ace was spoiling Persona 3. Well, you should have played it, bro. The game's over 15 years old, I think.
Has been broken. His spirit
the game's like
conquered,
almost 20 years old, isn't it?
He thinks himself an autonomous agent, a free man simply acting in accord with good morals and good sense, when in truth he is nothing but a slave to his enemies. It is owing to this state of spiritual subjugation that the modern white man can only feel virtuous when he fights on behalf of the racial outsider, and can scarcely even imagine fighting for his own cause. The very thought is forbidden, heretical. It is why modern white people think they are simply doing the right thing when they welcome foreign hordes into their ethnic homelands, or when they campaign for their own racial and cultural overthrow. They are merely reading from the script that has been written for them, playing their assigned part, unaware that it was authored by those who seek their destruction. The self-effacing modern white man earnestly believes that, in sacrificing himself for the benefit of those who hate him, he is just being a good person. He never stops to consider that he may unwittingly be doing the bidding of evil men. After all, he is only imitating what Walt Kowalski and 1,000 other Hollywood heroes did, to great acclaim.
I can see probably, I mean, I'm not going to say there's no men doing this, but I really think probably in this case, he should replace he with she, because even though there are plenty of men who are the soy boy cock Redditor types, like really, it's just following women. It's following women behaviors. Even if, sometimes directly, it's just simping, right? At the end of the day, doing all this suicidal shit is just, that's following the general, like, female fake empathy type of shit. It's not real empathy, because they're not actually putting themselves in the shoes of these dangerous immigrants, because you fundamentally don't even understand what they're like in the first place. So how could you be empathetic for something that you don't understand? You have an idea of what it is in your head created by Hollywood movies or TV shows or video games, as we've seen with all the woke shit I've covered. So it's not real empathy, because you would have to understand the thing. It's mostly just sympathy, which sympathy for the enemy is suicidal. You know, that is inherently... That's why people are calling it a death cult. You know, I think calling the left a death cult is good, because it's more or less what they are.
And weren't they good men? Weren't they heroic? Didn't the world cheer for them? It is time for us to reckon with this revelation, that the mythology of the modern age is corrupted from root to branch. The stories that have shaped who we are were written to deceive us. The men they presented as heroic exemplars to be imitated were false role models, leading us to our destruction, Pied Pipers of the silver screen. The villains we have been trained to hate were so often merely the kind of men who might threaten the plans of our enemies. What they championed as redemptive self-sacrifice was merely craven surrender, suicide. The better world they coached us to fight for was a world without us in it. The passivity they told us would overcome evil only ensured its triumph. We have all drunk deep from this poisoned well. Lies surround and entangle us, and when—
Well, in some ways, even... Hold on, let me go back a second.
We have all drunk deep. The better world they coached us to fight for was a world without us in it. The passivity they told us would overcome evil only ensured its triumph.
The funny thing about the passivity part, though, is that narrative has changed as well, where it's gone from, you know, talk no jutsu, the villain, to actually the villain is your friend, your family, you know, the person who looks like you, and the ally is the person who looks different, you know. So it's different. I wouldn't say modern media actually doesn't really teach passivity. I would say most left-wing media has you kill the villain. It's not as common anymore to have the talk no jutsu ending. So yeah, it's even more sinister than that, I would argue. Yeah, just be like, actually kill that guy who wants to save your people and the whole world. You know, kill him, because his beliefs are not acceptable.
We have all drunk deep from this poisoned well. Lies surround and entangle us, and when we try to free ourselves from them, we find yet more lies. And yet, with the passage of time, many of us are learning to see through their illusions. We readily identify and expose their tropes, memes, and metaphors. We grasp the true destructive intent behind their narratives and decode their esoteric language. And armed with this knowledge, we are inoculated against their propaganda. Their magic is unmasked as a set of simple, repetitive tricks.
I don't want a Fed post, but that is meaningless if you do nothing. Of course, I would never encourage any actions, but it doesn't matter if there's 10 billion noticers if every one of us lives in our fucking mother's basement and does nothing. You know what I mean? That's why, like, and this is not to demoralize anybody. It's just being realistic, right? The perfect example was the Charlie Kirk thing. Now, fucking Sam Hyde himself said, if nobody does anything in the next 2 weeks, we're doomed. Which, again, that to me was either Fed shit or grifter shit. It doesn't matter which one it is. But nothing happened, which is exactly what I thought would happen, because, again, I never heard anyone fucking really talk about Charlie Kirk much, despite him suddenly being the most important thing in the world when he died. It's shit like that that kind of proves to me people aren't going to do anything. They're not going to do anything. Because apparently, you know, according to one of our great thought leaders of the modern times, Sam Hyde, definitely not just a comedian, if we did nothing, then we're all fucked. Well, nothing happened, so I guess we're fucked. I knew nothing would happen because bread in circuses. That's the simple version. Simple explanation. Bread and circuses, okay? If we have our distractions, our video games, our porn, our et cetera, why the fuck would anyone do anything? You're just going to keep coping. Eternal coping. That is the black pill. You just cope forever. There's not going to be any actions, okay? Because everyone is waiting for someone else to do something. You know, apparently everyone has too much to lose, even though probably most wars fought in history, the people who fought those wars had more than we've ever had. You know, they had wives and children. We have nothing, but I guess we've got too much to lose. So nothing ever happens, okay? That's my ultimate doomer rant for you. Nothing ever happens. I mean, they're just taking your distractions away from us. Are they? Well, what have they taken away from you? This is the part where you're going to say, like, fucking CP or something, in which case you're not going to get anyone on your side, dude. What distractions have they taken away? Well, no, you can't say they've taken away games because you can just play old games or pirate games. There's always an option. It doesn't matter if every video game is dog shit for the next 10 years. If I really cared, I'd just go play a bunch of old games. I talk about shit games because that's my channel. That's the point of the channel, is to talk about shit games. If I didn't have this channel, I wouldn't have played 90% of the games that I've made videos on. I'm not even joking. 90% I would never touched if it wasn't for this YouTube channel. I would just play more old games. The people cannot be trusted with themselves, dictators, churches. Shame is needed to lead the people for good lives. On their own, they wither and die in addiction. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's... The funny thing is, like... This is why the communist people don't even know what they're asking for. I mean, obviously, there is, like, the very childlike, like, actual child. Like, there's no way anyone with a mental maturity over 15 would believe the stupid-ass socialist utopia where you just do nothing and get money for existing. You provide nothing of value to society and you think they're going to wipe your ass for you. Why would you even want a world like that anyway? Again, that's why I equate it to, like, woman thinking. Because there's no real man on this planet who wants to do literally nothing for the rest of their existence. The reason needs do nothing is because they get nothing. Why would you work when you get nothing? You know, that's why people take the extremist opinions of, like, give me a state-mandated girlfriend, because if at least I got some pussy, I might, you know, be a cog in your machine. That's the idea, right? That's the core. I understand the idea. People don't want to do nothing, okay? Men don't want to do nothing, I should say. Maybe some women want to do literally nothing, but men want to do something, okay? Inherently, unless your brain is broken. But you need a reason to do the things. If you have no reason to work, you're not going to work. It's not that complicated. Men have no reason to work now. That's why this, so, you know, we're gonna... My brain is fading. Whatever. I think I lost my rant energy near the end of it. One state mandated girlfriends be like a 3 out of 10. Well, obviously it would only work if women lost some of their fundamental rights, so that it never. I'm not going to get into this ultra misogynistic shit, but the state mandated girlfriend thing would only work under a Sharia law type situation where women wouldn't have rights, so that, like, if you got some ugly ass bitch, at least she'd be treated like property in a sense, and you would be able to you'd be able to fix some of that problem. Like, if she's obese, you could force her to get on the fucking hamster wheel, so to speak. That's the only way that would ever work. It is funny in my head though, like, conceptually. Obviously that would never work, guys. I know. All right, hold on. All right, we can watch another video. Well, I guess we can finish this one because we're right at the end anyway.
No longer will we be duped into emulating the false role models they have created, who fight and die for their cause. We will cast off the story that our enemies have imposed upon us, wherein we can only choose between villainy or self-sacrificial death in the false binary they have constructed. We will author our own story, with ourselves as the hero, where our struggles and our trials will once again have meaning. It will be a story in which those who fight for our cause are the heroes, and those who fight against us are the villains, not the misunderstood victims of our own sins. A story in which our historical greatness is a cause for pride and celebration, not crushing shame and guilt. A story that ends with our triumph, not with our defeat and death. We will no longer allow ourselves to be judged according to the moral...
White trash, the 400-year untold history of class in America. Nancy Eisenberg. Berg. Oh. Lipsitz. How many Jewish names are here? Burger. Interesting. Oh, is that a Rothenberg I see? Oh, okay. I'm picking up what they're putting down. Is that a Kaufman? I can barely tell with the quality. Is that a Kaufman I see? I wonder why he picked all these.
Code of our enemies. We will no longer play the part they have written for us in a tale that ends with their victory.
I wonder why this video got taken down.
We will write our own story.
It's a mystery.
It will set us free.
It truly is a mystery why that video got taken down. Good video though. I have to be honest with you, the Super Mario Bros. Movie is one of the only things that brought me any modicum of joy in recent years when I watched it on release, so I like it. Poir, why do you love the Mario movie but hate Sonic? Like, what is the logic here? I want to play that dog shit Sonic game for an hour now.